Hello, hello, my love. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing today? If you have not listened to the previous episode, that's a not so episode, I share everything that's going on that I'm so excited about. We've got a workshop, an experience, the retreat, 7-day masterclass. It's just going to be so good. So pop over there. It's a very short audio sharing everything that I have going on. So because I already shared that, I don't need to share it here. Today we are talking about grounded manifestation. So if you have been around the block with me, you know that I've been teaching manifestation for years, actually close to a decade. And so the framework of manifestation doesn't change that much, but as I evolve, as my own practice and experience deepens, as I learn new information, as we go through our path of self-growth, things shift. So today I want to talk about how I'm teaching manifestation now, and I call it grounded manifestation because that's truly what it is. It's combining or integrating the 3D with the 5D, or the physical body, the physical bank account, our physical habits, all that stuff, with the potential and the quantum and the intuition. We need to actually ground it down to the ground, or I should say better, the image I'm getting is taking all of that which we desire and our potential and our dreams, and really bringing it down here into physical reality. So this is a framework for receiving what you truly desire without forcing it, without overthinking or being even in freeze or overwhelm. Because I don't know if you're like me, but I really do feel like all of this manifestation stuff, sometimes it feels extremely overwhelming because a lot of it is up there in the 5D, where we're dreaming and we're visualizing and we're intending and we're affirming, which is all really good. But when life's us in the face, or when we're going about our everyday and we're in our bank account and we have our roles and our calendars and our responsibilities, like the truth is we're going to be triggered sometimes, we're going to get unfocused sometimes, we're going to get overwhelmed. And when we get thrown off, instead of flailing and then being like, it isn't working, looking for a sign, grasping at things, eventually getting so frustrated that we avoid, we give up, scrap the entire thing, and then start back at square one going like, okay, I need to find a plan, right? Like, tell me if you can relate to that for real. Instead, we want to ground this. We want to bring it into our life so that we're receiving and moving into what we truly desire without forcing, without freezing or exhausting ourselves, or really being mismatched in our everyday life. Because I'll share in the episode, but I know for me, there are times when I'm like, I want freedom. And then I open my eyes and go into my life and I'm like, oh my God, I have no time. I have no money. I have no, and sometimes that's where there's a giant gap in manifestation. And it's not about you being more disciplined or that you haven't healed enough. I promise. It's actually about grounding all this stuff right down and bringing it into the present moment, taking action from a totally different place, but also focusing on different things than we've been taught to focus on. So that's what we're going to get into today, and I'm really excited for it. So that's it. Drop your shoulders, take a sip of water, and let's dive into this episode. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. I've broken grounded manifestation into 4 pillars. So everything I'm going to say, I want to invite you to hear it in the here and now. So some of the words I'm going to say you've heard before when it's like focus on your desire, but I want to try to really, again, ground it. There's a theme here. You could turn this into a drinking game. Every time I say ground, you could take a drink, but we'll make it like a lemon cayenne something something so you're healthy. Okay, anyway. We're going to go through these pillars, and I invite you to hear it right now, to hear it in this present moment, and asking yourself or being open to how you could see it in a more grounded or deeper way, even if it's a concept you've already heard before. Because unless you're a newbie, like a self-growth newbie, which you're probably not, there are lots of these concepts and terms and, phrases that you've heard over and over. But again, we're seeing them from a more real lens so that we can really make it real. Okay, pillar 1, know what you want. I know you've heard this 7.8 billion times. This isn't about pinching yourself off with tiny little details if that overwhelms you. And it's also not about leaving it so vague that you're kind of like wishy-washy, like I just want to live my best life, right? This is going to depend on you. This is why we're grounding it. So in human design, there's specific and non-specific manifesting, or just for you. If you're thinking about your dream home, does it light you up to be like, there's marble in this bedroom and the stairs are exactly this, and everything, you can see all of the details. Does it light you up when you're thinking about your vehicle to be like, oh, I want, a 2024 this and this model with these rims and I want these details? If that lights you up, you're a detail person. That's really great. Zoom in, turn up the saturation, really go into those details. But if you're like a lot of people and you don't know the details, what I would say is riff on what you really truly want to the place where you get as detailed as what lights you up. So some of my clients, it might be more like, I want to live a life of freedom. I want to wake up in the morning feeling excited about my day. I want to feel alive in my body. I want to exercise regularly and eat food that lights my body up. I make at least $100,000 a year, or maybe if it's your dream life, I make at least $500,000 a year. And I feel free to travel and I've paid off my debt. And so that type of thing, that's all very specific, but it's more of a vibe than like, I need a 1975 Mustang, this and that, right? But again, sometimes we're a mix where there's some things that you're like, no, this is what I want. Like the Canon camera you want, or the exact village you want to travel to. There are places where we get really specific and we're like, yes. But if there's something you're going for, if you're, wanting to get to your next level in your business, but you're not 100% sure what you're going to move into or what area of your business that you really want to, explode, that's okay too. So the key here is to get as specific as you can and as you want to until you start feeling pinched off by details. That's the best way I can explain it. Go for what truly lights you up. I just see like a word salad of all the things that you want: vitality, freedom, abundance, but then maybe also a house in this specific place, or to go to this specific destination, or to write a book. Allow all of that to come together into what you truly want. So if you want to make this physical, grounded, write out or put on a, what are those things called? Dry erase board or sticky notes or whatever, this word salad, like a jumble or a list or a graph or whatever type of person you are, writing out all of the things that you want. And then if you feel guided as we go through this, that you want to focus on one thing, like, nope, you're going for like the next 10 clients, or you've got a house on your heart, you want to buy a house, then go into this process with a specific thing. So identify what you want first. Pillar 2, number 2, you have to start noticing what comes up. And I feel like this is just not talked about enough. So once you declare what you want, and P.S., almost everybody listening has done step number 1 a million times. Usually you know what you want. The universe knows what you want, but if you need to start there to refresh the process, that is number 1. Number 2 is noticing what comes up. So once you know what you want, start being the observer in your life, in your daily life, to observe your habits, your belief, your triggers, your general energy, especially around that which you want. Why did I make that so complicated? So say you have a money goal. Or your goal is you want your debt to be paid off and you want to have $10,000 in your savings, or whatever specificity lights you up. Start noticing how you be with money. What you think of or what energy comes up now that you've, placed this goal. Do you start getting thoughts of like, you're never going to do it, not in this economy, no one's ever going to buy my art, or whatever? What are your habits like? Are you avoiding bills? Are you avoiding getting back to people about money? Do you avoid, tough conversations with money or making moves or whatever? Look at your beliefs. Oh, people like me can't make that much. That goal is way too big. Maybe you think, no one in my family's ever made that much. You have to start. You are a self-healer. You are a self-manifester. So we really need to observe from a place of non-story, non-judgment, our own energy around the thing that we want. And we want to start to specifically notice the things that contrast your desire. For example, I want freedom, but then I'm constantly overwhelmed. That was from my everyday life. Maybe you're saying you want health, but you notice that you're skipping your walk. This is inventory. This isn't beating yourself up. This is about seeing what is in the way so you can actually work through it. These are the things I start to pick up on with clients. They say what they want, and I hold that sacred. That is for them. That is those things that you want. That is what you're meant for. So we have to start to notice what comes up that is in direct contrast, because the process is happening. When you start desiring it, when you start saying like, that's it, I'm creating more money for myself, or like, I really want this health goal, immediately the process starts working. So what is in direct contrast with that, the thing that is quote unquote blocking it, will come up. And we accelerate that process by having it come up in our awareness. So say you want freedom, but you constantly feel overwhelmed. As soon as you see that and you're like, oh, wow, I don't feel anything but free. Okay, how can we start bridging the gap? And we'll get to that. So first, knowing what you want. Second, noticing what comes up that is in direct contrast in your habits, your beliefs, your energy. The next one is nervous system regulation / embodiment. And embodiment doesn't just mean dancing in front of the mirror. It means your body, paying attention to your body, learning about the different states in your body, such as stress or relaxation, sympathetic, parasympathetic, all this stuff I've been talking about, and I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about. This is where the magic happens. Because every trigger, when stuff comes up, because it will, every trigger becomes an opportunity to actually expand through when we learn how to stay in our body. So you want, and this is again where a lot of times these manifestation processes, we go south with them because we're not taught this stuff. We're not given the actual tools to stay in the game, to stay present. So instead of noticing what comes up in pillar 2, normally we would react to what comes up. We want this money and life's us, and then we go, oh, I'll never do it, and we just go off, right? No. We're staying present. We're staying in the game. You're running a marathon, not a race. You have to stay in. So pillar 3 is the nervous system, because every trigger, when we learn how to somatically process it, move through it in our body, when we learn to regulate our body first and create states of safety, pockets of safety, these micro practices like deep breaths, grounding touch, somatic touch, movement like shaking it out, releasing your jaw, letting go of your belly, all these things regulate our body. So as our money stress comes up, for this example, and we go, that big bill, our shoulders get tense, our breathing gets shallow, that even energetically is just not the vibe that we are wanting for our lives. It's not the place where we hear intuition. It's not the place where we can take clear action that's actually inspired and aligned with us. We're in a state of stress. We're in a state of reaction. So when you learn to regulate the body first with these micro practices, when you really start to be aware of that, you diffuse the energy that comes up in a trigger, that comes up when you start getting into a freeze state, when you start avoiding, when you start getting panicky or anxiety or fearful. We learn how to diffuse it, but diffuse in this case doesn't mean shove down. It means like they're almost showing me like a sieve, like break it up. You actually then move through it authentically. And the thing I've noticed over and over and over is it's a wave. This thought of like, say for this example, money comes up and then we're like, oh my God, that bill and that thing's here and like tight chest. And then we go, okay, let's breathe through, allow ourselves to feel it, go through your practices. And in just a couple moments, you start going, ah. And it reminds me of a brain freeze. It reminds me because Like a brain freeze comes on, you can start to feel it, and then a brain freeze eases out. Then you get that like, oh, that feeling of relief. And I'll be in full blown, not panic like on the floor, but like I'll start getting in my head about one thing, about money or about this. And I do these practices and I notice like on the clock, 2 minutes has gone by, but I have diffused the energy and come back into my power, not just numbed or bolted, because I'm good at that too. No, actually processing it. And the more we practice that, the more we can actually hold the energy of that which we want. And in real everyday language, we become more steady in our energy, more grounded in our energy. We can make bigger moves. We can hold a bigger space. We can lead a nation. But really, you can be a more patient, mother or partner or human. You can go after your dreams. We don't take things as personal. We can have boundaries. That's like a solid, regulated nervous system is a solid, regulated person. And if you're an empath, this has been extremely difficult because I know for me it definitely has. But the more we practice, the more energy we can hold, the more we can stay present when things feel intense and not numb. Because this is where we lose years of our life, staying in I'm not clear, staying in I don't know what to do, and in freeze, and I know it well. That's why I'm so passionate about it. So as we learn to regulate the body, to move through triggers without bolting, without freezing, we actually learn to hold more. We learn to be more solid as a person and continue moving forward, not getting on an off trail and then it's like it's not working and that whole thing I already said, right? And then we get confused and disempowered and we avoid and we all that, and then we scrap the whole thing and start back at square one, and you're typing into ChatGPT or Google or like praying to the cosmos of like, what's my first step? You are already more than halfway through the journey. But we don't need to start at the beginning again. We need to start and we need to learn how to stay present in our body, stay present in our life. And in very small increments, learn how to feel through things. It doesn't mean you have to go to your biggest thing and your deepest wound and feel it. It's not about that. It's regulating. When I start feeling all panicky and overwhelmed, knowing the tools that bring me back to center faster. Okay, the next pillar. So we've just had 3. Number 1, know what you want. Number 2, notice what comes up. Number 3, basically know how to process what comes up so you stay in the game. And number 4, that was called nervous system regulation, number 3. But number 4 is taking aligned action only once you've regulated. If I said to you, thou shalt not, I don't know why I'm talking like that, but you are not allowed to take action unless you are regulated. Until you are regulated, you might be like, oh, what? Because if you're like me, I took panic action forever with everything. You are only allowed in grounded manifestation to take aligned action once you're regulated. You decide your next step from that place of regulation. Aligned action bridges the gap between the desire and the manifestation. Action does need to happen. But when you're regulated, you will be offered you'll get an idea, you'll see a sign, you'll hear something, you'll just have like a notion inside where you're like, you know what? I'm going to start walking, like even 15 minutes a day. And aligned actions are for you. So they're not just this big, huge thing that you can't do. It's literally like, okay, let's go for 15-minute walks a few days a week. Yeah. Aligned actions are beautiful. They meet you where you're at. And you have to take it from regulation for it to truly bridge that gap and for you to continue moving forward. So if something doesn't feel aligned, learning how to not force it, learning how to pause, regulate, and then decide from a place of safety, of clarity, of true self, if this thing is right for you or not. That is how we get out of the patterns of, the loop-de-loop I was talking about, or staying in a certain pattern over and over. We have to learn to regulate and make that our number one job. And then make decisions and take actions from that place. So this could be very physical, like after a meditation, writing out what you feel would be good next steps, or after a somatic practice, writing out that. But it also means learning to master your energy first before just going like, okay, what's the next huge action? Because when we just throw ourselves into that, but our system isn't equipped to handle it, it's not fair. It sets ourselves up for, I don't want to say failure, but like it just takes so much longer because we just weren't ready, and that's okay. So focusing on your body, getting a little bit more sleep, even for the next week or two, a little bit more sleep, a little bit more meditation, a little bit more just going for a walk and being in quiet, you will be surprised what comes up from that place. So take aligned action from groundedness, from regulation. Aligned action carries momentum. It's grounded, it's deliberate, and it always will move you forward. And then from here, you just cycle through. So as you take aligned action, then something comes up. We notice what comes up. We regulate our body. We decide what the next best action is. And if you stay in the game, you absolutely will succeed. So a big caveat I want to say, or it's not even a caveat, it's actually like an addition. When you feel really stuck, please, 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 number one, I know you know what I'm going to say, regulate, yes. Number one, get back into your body and or just rest. Just focus on you. When you feel really stuck, focus on your energy, your body, looking after yourself, nourishing yourself, doing a meditation, dropping back in, going for a walk, feeling in yourself first. So when you feel stuck, don't go straight to what's my plan. That's always where we want to go. What's my plan? What's my plan? Come back into your body first. And if that's not enough because you're truly stuck, I just want to say, and it almost sounds a little bit harsh, but we can waste years being in functional freeze, where we're functioning, but we're also frozen. We're not moving forward because we are in that state of dysregulation. We don't feel safe in our body. We feel overwhelmed in areas of our life or with our goals or whatever. And what I really want to say is in these places, it goes so far to immerse yourself in different energy to shift your energy. So that could look like anything from something that's free to getting into mentorship, but it could be listening to Abraham or Tony Robbins, reading the Bible, or listening to someone like Wayne Dyer or, Eckhart Tolle, or something that changes your energy. Get into a free 7-day challenge, get into some sort of group thing, read a book that really helped you a few years ago. It almost doesn't matter what it is. But what I find is I delay my clarity for so long by just kind of completely shutting down. But if I listen to Wayne Dyer or I listen to Ram Dass, or maybe it's taking, like I said, like a 7-day thing with a coach that's energy just gets to me and like I love it. Those types of things shake me out of stagnancy. And this is even the same in business. If you're not knowing what to create content on, start learning about things, start reading books about things, and you will start to get inspired to be like, oh yeah, I want to read about this, or I want to write about this in my content on Instagram, whatever it is. It's the same in your life. So when you feel almost like endlessly stuck, like you're in goo, do something that shifts your energy because you are worth it. Your goals are worth it. You have to shake it up because when you get a reflection, when you get some extra inspiration, some new tools, somebody else's energy, what this does is it opens up new doors. When we stay stuck, we close doors and we don't really know where to look and we're just in it. When you get into a different energy, you go, oh yeah. And it's so cool to see each thing you do that shakes it up, that gets you into a different perspective, that gets you seeing things a little bit differently. It unlocks opportunities to move you forward every time. And this takes you out of being in the lobby of your dream life and actually stepping into the building. We're not waiting around in the lobby, loitering, hoping to get in. When you shake your energy up, when you get activated by someone and inspired, you stop loitering in the lobby and truly get into the arena. So when you feel really stuck, put yourself first. It is important to move through this because there is gold and abundance. I don't mean gold as in money, but gold. There are, there's fulfillment, there's joy, there's peace, there's freedom on the other side. That's how we stay in the game. And there are times when I get really stuck and I go, fine, I'm sick of being unclear. I'm sick of being in my own stuff, right? I'll do something to shake myself out of it, whether it's more deep and spiritual, like rereading the Tao, or like I said, a mentor that offers an experience. I recently did that with vibration and practices and Kundalini, and it just really was so incredible to like jumpstart my energy. I was just trying something new, right? So you not owe that, but you deserve that. To put yourself first when you're really stuck, because you are meant for the things that are on your heart. That life that's on your heart, you are meant for that. So listen to a different podcast, read that book again, get a mentor, because you are worth it. And when it changes everything, when it unlocks everything, you'll definitely look back and be like, that was so worth it. Okay, so grounded manifestation isn't about pushing or forcing or 1, 2, 3 affirmation and we're done. It's about knowing what you want, observing what comes up that's in the way, regulating your body and navigating those things, actually staying in the game and staying in your body and taking aligned action from that place. And if you continue going through the car wash, if you continue going through the process, you absolutely will manifest. You will create. You will move forward. And you've got this. Okay, my love. Whew. Okay. That was good. And if you really do want to go further, you want my help, my support, we've got the Regulate and Receive workshop, followed by the Regulated AF 7-day experience to move you forward. We've, of course, got the main event, the retreat in September. And if you're looking for something a little bit more do it yourself, we've got the Path app, meditations, journal prompts, articles, all of it. Try it 5 days free. The link below to try it for free is in the show notes, as well as everything else I just mentioned. All right, I'll see you in the next episode.